morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. We'll do the usual greeting in a couple of minutes once everyone gets their feet under their table. My word. We'll go to the texts just to say hello to everybody that's kind of chatting away merrily. Theo, the Bovril, the wrong'un. Theo, the wrong'un is in. In what, Theo? You mucky old tart. Rusty Mouse, I want to know, Aid, how do you get your hair into that coif in those days? It's called a quiff, darling. Did you use gel, lacquer, or what? It looks outstanding. So the story behind that was back in the day when I had a bit more hair, I was working at Century 106 and they decided to get a photographer in. And then everybody, breakfast, mid-mornings, afternoon, drive, lunchtime phone-in, all had to have their photograph taken. So I just pitch up. And the photographer goes, "Can you do something with your hair?" And I was, "Well, like what? It's mine." He's like, "Can you not do something a bit more personality-full?" Or some words to that effect. And I was just like, "Oh, right, give us 2 minutes." So I literally ran into the toilets at Century 106 and just dampened my hair. Went back and then he went, "Perfect." Snap, 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 snap. 5 minutes, done. And that picture of me going with me hair is the same picture that the convicted stalker tried recreating for his YouTube channel. Go and have a look. Told you. It's like single white female. Wanted to be me, wanted to copy everything that I did. So that's how that, no lacquer, no, none of this teasy weezy, none of this, something about Mary. No, none of that. Thankfully. But thank you, Rusty Mouse. Carl Bassett. Evening, Adrian. You're wrong and good to see you back. Carl from Bridgend. Thank you, Carl. Eddie Blackmore. Sorry, been out playing footy. Now I'm out on the lash. Where? In the borough. Eddie. The borough full of drinking, watering holes. Andrew James, commencing countdown, Major Tom. David Bowie after the knife. Otherwise called David Jones, and he couldn't register David Jones because he was the lead singer of the Monkees at the time. Rusty Mouse, the magic hour is on. You're too kind, Rusty Mouse. Andrew James, I hope big boy Adrian, you've heard of the rumours, is going to be extra sweary tonight. Off! Don't be silly. Rusty Mouse. Andrew James, I thought you said sweaty. Well, there is that. Mind you, it's a bit cold. Have you had snow yet? Yeah, we have. Rusty Mouse, open that door. What are you saying? Back door or front door, Rusty Mouse? Napoleon blown apart. That's very good. Very, very good. Are we there yet? And Rusty Mouse says, it'll pass to Andrew James. Evening Tower Block Trace, my, we are all eager beavers tonight. You have all come early. Beavers, coming early. Never happened in my lifetime. Mr. Jollop, good evening, Adrian. You're wrong. Great to have you back, and good evening to everyone tuning in. Yes, good evening all. Welcome to the Theatre of the Mind. A couple more, and then we'll get straight in. Lynn Turner. Morning, Adrian, and others from lovely sunny New Zealand. Day. Lynn, don't rub it in. We're going through the depths of winter here in Blighty. And hang on, where will you be? Is New Zealand? Are you spring or where are we? Are you autumn? Lovely sunny day in one of the most beautiful places on God's green earth. The new Mrs. Allen and I have had a conversation this week about coming to New Zealand, Lynn, and we're thinking, well, you can literally in New Zealand, you can go and ski in the mountains. And on the same day, go and sunbathe on the beach. I mean, what a country. So we're thinking about skiing in New Zealand. Well, I say that loosely. The new Mrs. Allen is Franz Klammer. I'm a bit pants at it, really. I squeal like a girl the minute you stick those planks of wood on the end of my legs. It's like Frank Spencer. Some mothers do have them. My mother had me, so to speak. What's going on with that? Just there's something going on with my phone. I'm not quite sure what, but just let me know that this is coming through. I'm monitoring it, and it appears to be, but I don't know what. I'm getting some kind of alert or something on my phone. Yeah, stuff it, iPhones. Who'd have one? Andrew James and Lynn Turner and Napoleon blown apart. All in-house. Keith Thomas, greetings from Wales. Adrian, South Wales. Keith, love South Wales. Just love South Wales. Had the best time for 18 months in South Wales. Are you from almost the English border side of South Wales, or are you right out west with Swansea Jack? That's a great story. If anybody, because Scotland have got a dog story, and Swansea Jack also have a story. Twin Town, pretty shitty city. Junior Stevens, what technical difficulties are you having tonight? I don't know. There's something going on my phone. It just appears from nowhere. I've no idea. But I am told that everything's fine. There's nothing going on until there is. Right. Welcome to live number 43. The next live is number 44. Oh, by the way, apologies for Sunday. Wow. I mean, the new Mrs. Allen and I had to go and do some stuff, and we were in the deepest, darkest Cotswolds, and so we had to make our way back home, and literally there was fog and rain and huge amounts of traffic on the motorway, and that's why I just had to stop off at a motorway service station and just say, look, I'm not going to make it tonight. Simply too much traffic, and the weather was atrocious. But it is winter, to be fair. This is Blighty. This is good old England. And winter is meant to be winter. Not like middle of summer with 30-degree heat and sunshine. So we've got to expect a little give and take during winter. But tonight's live is number 43. The next live, number 44, is this coming Sunday, the 3rd of December. December! Oh, you tell me you've got your Christmas presents. Or are you going to leave it till Christmas Eve? What day is Christmas Day? Is it Sunday this year? Mr. Jollop. Adrian, what's your take on the election results in the Netherlands? It seems Geert Wilders, it seems, is trying to form a coalition. I think the reason why the electorate are going a little more to the right, but there's no real left or right in democracy because it's all a rigged game. Remember that. If voting changed anything, they'd abolish it. Except if you're in Holland, you get possibly a coalition government, and you also start publishing books that has stuff in it that they shouldn't. And we'll get to that in a minute. But nice setup, Mr. Jollop. Gavin Foster, just to let you know, in Spain, you can ski in the mountains and then sunbathe on the beach. Really, Gavin? Andrew James, I'm intrigued by the Lennon picture deal. Hang on. Where do we... That was a present from the new Mrs. Allen. And we were... I'm a huge fan of John Lennon. Huge. I think he's the greatest rock and roll star, bar none. His everything. He actually understood life. He understood everything. And was a precocious talent right from the get-go, right from being a young boy. And I think he made Paul McCartney look good rather than the other way around. It's only my view, personal opinion. Somebody did say a couple of weeks ago, what's your favourite blues? Who's your favourite blues guitarist? And I did have a conversation with a friend of mine who's proper bluesy, proper. And we kind of ranted and raved about at least a dozen guitarists. But for me, John Lennon, singularly, the greatest rock and roll star. So we're in... Where were we? Hang on. I think we were in... Was it Barcelona? No. The new Mrs. Allen will tell me. But we went to this market. We just kind of came out of the hotel. No, Portugal. That's it. We were staying near Lisbon, and we were told by the hotel that there was kind of a market on, like a local market. It wasn't a produce market, but it was one of those, not trade market, man, skills market or whatever you call it. And we went for a walk, and it was like, they were flogging bits and pieces, flogging clothes and flogging stuff. And we came across this guy that took sort of records and just carved almost ghosts into them. And that is the original Double Fantasy album. And he carved John Lennon into that Double Fantasy album. Oh, I could have married the new Mrs. Allen, because were we engaged? I don't even think we were engaged at that point. But she bought me that as a gift, and I love it, because every time I walk into my office at home, I see John Lennon. And I do have some original photographs of John Lennon and Paul McCartney, which I'll kind of show on the channel at some point. And it was a listener to my BBC late night phone-in, Eric, who lives in France, or did, and said, "Oh, Adrian, I was a photographer once over. I think I've got some John Lennon photographs, some originals." So and I've also been to Abbey Road. Unconfirmed rumours. No, not John Legend, John Lennon, the legend. And you can only, I always thought that you could only call someone a legend once they'd passed over. I know they've gone to wherever we go once we shuffle off this mortal coil. If Lennon understood life, why did he marry Yoko? Dame Anna, that's a very good point. I think, for me, that she was the mother he never had. That's why he used to call her mother. So I think she tapped into something within John, and it was something that he's been looking for all of his life. Look, at that level of fame, you can literally have anything you want. And there's a lot of, I was going to write a book called Rock and Roll Myths and Legends, and then when I started talking about some of the stories that I'd heard on my travels and in radio, they were like, "Oh, Adrian, you can't." I said, "Yes, I can. Most of them are dead. You can't libel a dead man or woman." So it was like, what was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought now. I was going to go Yoko. Oh, yeah, I was going to talk about some rock and roll myths and legends. And that's when I did the research, and seemingly you can only call someone who's died a legend, not somebody. You can call them a living legend, but you can't call them a legend. Some of the stories, there was a great story about Barry White in the 70s, and he loved a bit of the marching powder, loved the old, Colombian, and he would only let those who. Now, seemingly, I wasn't there at the time, so this may be an apocryphal story, or it might just be one of those, made-up rock and roll myths and legends. But seemingly, he would only allow the others that were with him, mainly women, obviously, to have some of what he was sniffing, so long as they sniffed it off his schmeckle. So, I don't think that's a word that's banned by YouTube, so we can get away with it. So they used to just, join him in partaking by sniffing it off his long and winding road. What was the? So I think there are others of like the stories around Marvin Gaye and the stories around Teddy Pendergrass. Some of the others. I mean, Teddy was a boy, and I won't go into too much. But at the point where you've literally had everything offered to you on a plate, you're looking for something else. You're looking for a little bit more depth, and I think John Lennon was like that. I think he literally from 1962 onwards could have had anything that he wanted, anything, any amount of women, any amount of recreational, and just Yoko just gave him what he'd been searching for. And as I've said before in my personal experience, I said to the congregation when I married the new Mrs. Allen, I'd been searching for her all of my life. It just took me a while to find her. And I think that's exactly the same with John Lennon. Took him a while to find Yoko. I mean, I know that everybody goes, "Oh, Yoko Ono, she broke the Beatles up." No, I just think it was the time for John to do what he needed to do. I thought his bedding was genius. I thought what he was doing around the Nixon era and the Vietnam War, I thought was beautiful. And he was a leader, and he stood up for who he was. And if you look at today, 2023, how many obvious leaders do we have in either worldwide or in society or in community? Who's leading us? No one. They're all making money. They're all snout, trough, I'll have some of that. They're all at it. But John Lennon was feared because he had the youth on his side. And as I've said before, my heroes are few, but have a distinct integrity about them. Honesty, decency, and integrity. So you got Muhammad Ali. Cool, the things that he went through. Muhammad Ali, when it was America was a tough place. And Brian Clough. Man, what can you say? The best football manager, bar none. You can keep your Pep Guardiolas and you can keep anybody else. You can keep your Gareth Southgate, England manager, bless him. Brian Clough, without doubt, without fear of contradiction, the greatest football manager the game has produced. And he's from Middlesbrough. And I've met him. John Lennon, going to Abbey Road. I've got my... I can't put... I'm looking somewhere else because it's hanging up in my office. I have a VIP pass that a couple of years ago when Get Back the album was 50, or one of the albums was 50, they allowed certain people to go into Abbey Road and have a look around. And literally, I couldn't catch my breath. My greatest possessions are not like stuff that is worth a lot of money. They're experiences. And again, the new Mrs. Allen, and I sussed it. My not psychic ability. I've got this magazine. I'll tell you that story quickly, then we'll get into what we're going to get stuck into tonight. Ali, the new Mrs. Allen, had said, right, I've got a surprise for you. Not going to say anything. Got a surprise for you. Just it's on this date, this time. You need to be ready by such and such, and then I'll take you there. So I was like, right, okay. So she was teasing me for a couple of days. Any idea what it is? And I was like, no, not really. And then we get this free magazine through the door. And within this magazine was an article about them opening up Abbey Road to members of the public who could go in and have a look around. And I just stared at this article thinking, that's what the new Mrs. Allen's got. So I rang her. I said, oi, you're wrong. Is that... Oh, how did you guess? She says. I've no idea. And no, I haven't got the lottery numbers for the weekend. So we went, and it is singularly one of the greatest experiences of my life. Money couldn't buy it. And one of my greatest possessions is me just sitting on the stairs to the control room, and I couldn't have been a happier boy. So I wouldn't thank you for gold and riches and money because it means nothing. There's no pockets and shrouds. We can't take it with us. But going into the main studio where the Beatles recorded, still sends the hairs on the back of my neck standing up. So John Lennon, hero. Dame Anna, see, look at that. You can't shut me up. Dom Wrigley, ever seen the Ruttles? No, but funny as. Tower Block Tracy, Andy Turner. Wrong'un is on license for the next 25 years. Oh, John Miles Music. Oh, Tower Block Tracy. Let me tell you, John Miles Music, great song, makes the hairs on my arm stand up every time I hear it. And do you want to know why? Because singularly, it is the greatest news intro. There's a part of that song that is the greatest news intro on any radio station anywhere in the world ever. And it was Metro Radio. Obviously, being a young boy, that was my local radio station for Sunderland. And they had John Miles Music as the news intro. Oi, 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 oi. If only. Harry Shape and WOLD. That's another great song. But John Miles music. Is he still kicking around? I think, did he die recently? So let's get into what I want to get into, because some of it is very important. Some of it's quite light-hearted, and some of it's, I'm sure, bring a smile to your face, knowing what you're chatting about in the texts this evening. So there's a running order on the live, in the description, and I wanted to talk about I'm a Celeb. Is ITV being judge, jury, and executioner for Nigel Farage? Because it's not quite working out for them, is it? I mean, I've caught a few, and Nige is he's inscrutable. He knows what the deal is. He's not stupid. You don't get millions in the bank, and you don't lead political parties, and you don't stand up in the European Parliament. Now, please forgive me. This is not a political party broadcast. It is just... look, the Tories are done. Finished. Done. And I will guarantee you, because I want to talk about Be Liar tonight. Couple of things. Let me just do this. A couple of things, because I nearly forgot. Do you want to know how much that man's made in the last year? Hundreds of millions of pounds. Would you believe that? So the Tories are done, and the people that I'm talking to are saying that they don't particularly want to vote for Keir Starmer, because you get Keir Starmer, you get Gordon Brown back, you get Mandy Mendelsohn back. What was he doing on Epstein's plane? Hiya, Mandy! Tell us, man! Because there was only one reason why the people were on the Lolita Express, but I'll let you tell us. So we get Mandy back, but more importantly, we get that evil Be Liar back. Now, maybe the Tories were right. Remember the advertisement at the back end of the 70s where they showed the devil's eyes? The devil. Turns out they were right. So I think people are looking at the political process and kind of going, so we're going to have a general election in May? Are we really? Well, we will have, if the Tories think they can rattle some pots and pans and get away with it. Otherwise, they might leave it till October. But there's little Nige. Little Nige. I mean, it's bad enough being called Nigel. But the Farage, the garage, he's just... Well, the way I see it, any man that's clever enough to get $1 million or $1.5 million out of ITV for 3 weeks' work is worth every penny. I mean, he's tried his best. A little bit of stuff that he did with Nella. And who the hell is she when she's got her clothes on? And she's absolutely gone to town on him. Now, seemingly, when there's a new vote going on for I'm not a celebrity, because some of them aren't, in my humble view, they're going to release this video. ITV are going to release this video of young Nige saying something inappropriate. Now, I've seen some news reportage in Australia, because they're up before us, and they're saying, oh, yes, what's going on with young Nige? Because they talk like that in Australia, especially when they've had a quaff. And yes, well, what's this video that's going to be released by ITV? Nobody knows, but let's wait and see, because then you'll know ITV. You know, this is the company that hires Ant and Dec. Now, you two, Ant and Pratt. So what did they do last night? First time, misery hotel. I went on a misery holiday once. Yeah, I ended up in Sunderland. Yeah, Geordie, caring, understanding 90s type. Mate, you wouldn't even be allowed, you wouldn't get out of Sunderland alive. Think you're big. So, Ant and Dec, cracking Sunderland gags. Let's all laugh at the Geordies. Let's all laugh at the barcodes. Let's all laugh at the skunks. Now, I think they're okay in the jungle because Ant doesn't have to drive a car. And there's Dec sitting there. You know why he didn't marry his long-term girlfriend years ago? Is that right, Dec? She decided she couldn't stand it anymore. And I've always had this wonder about celebrities that were dancing with lap dancers, because it was well known that certain PRs used to get lap dancers, pay them a bit of bunce, and then say, oh, just tell them that you slept with a celebrity. It was a go-to at one point. And, oh, let's have a look at Little Deck. But what were they covering up when they said he was shagging a lap dancer? He's got very powerful lawyers, but I'm telling you this. If he worked for Tesco's, he'd definitely be the guy that brought the lorries in to Tesco's at the rear. So, next time you start mouthing off about Sunderland, maybe we should start talking about your predilections. Young Deck. Caring, understanding 90s type. So, thank goodness they're in the jungle and they won't be watching this. But I want to get back to young Nige. Not that, I'm not a supporter at all. But he's just a character. And he had the measure of this Nella creature. What is that all about? She's race baiting him. Has she been given a brief to go in and try and get Nige to respond? I thought he did brilliantly. But now, ITV, as I say, are they judge, jury and executioner? ITV are restricting his airtime because young Nige had worked it out. Obviously done a bit of research while he's having a beer in the pub and said, 25%. The Bush Tucker trials take 25% of the airtime. So Nige wanted to do them all. And what did they do? Give them all to Nella. And yet, Nigel's been talking about, his relationship with the Donald. And ITV haven't aired that. Somebody asked them, why have you not aired that? And they said, well, we can't show every single conversation. So they're about to release an old video of Nigel Farage whilst he's in the jungle. What do you call that? He has no right of reply. He can't do anything. Is this the 2023 equivalent to a lynching? Before somebody asks, they're playing tonight 1-1 against some awful team. Andrew James says, Farage understands the media well, and I agree with you completely. So it's going to be interesting to see how young Nige gets on over the next week and a half, because it's only 3 weeks. I mean, can you imagine staying in that? I mean, I was in the Peruvian Amazon. Looks exactly, the place that we were staying looks exactly like I'm a Celebrity. Get me out of here! But it was fabulous. Tarantulas the size of dinner plates, little tree frogs that scared the bejesus out of the new Mrs. Allen, which was funny as. And we did 4 ayahuasca in 5 days. Another video. Oh, Dan Payne! Hello from Brazil. Love a Brazilian, Dan. Thank you very much for that. GB Patriot. Belle Rose was born in Belgium. Who? Nell. Was she born in Belgium? And somebody said something else that I thought was brilliant. What was I going to say? No. So I do 3 weeks in jungle. We were there for 8 days. 35-degree heat and 100% humidity. No wonder it's raining where they are in Australia. But they're being paid for it, so they can shut up. Here, can I ask you something? What's this with Josie Gibson sucking her thumb? Is she missing something? Now, I've had ex-girlfriends that sucked their thumb, and I thought, that's a bit weird. Your age? How old's she? 30-odd? 40-odd? Seemingly, there's in your palate, there is a... There's something that that makes sucking your thumb quite pleasurable. I'm not going. Stop it! I'm not going down that route. You can make your own gags up, but I'm not going down that route. I'm just genuinely being inquisitive. So what's Josie Gibson sucking her thumb for? I mean, surely that should have kind of gone by the by when she was out of nappies. Is she? I don't know. Stress comforting. Well, I can't because I'm a married man, but no, I can't even make the gags. Just make your own gags up. It's bad. Your gags would be worse than mine. So just make your own up. And then there's Grace Dent. Grace Dent. I mean, I remember Grace from doing telly and stuff. I've met her once, and she's, what can I say? The Jacobite. Would you do I'm a Celeb, Adrian? Oh, after being in the jungle in Peru, yeah, absolutely. Would I eat camel toe and crocodiles, schmeckel? If I'm hungry enough, I'm from Sunderland. I'd eat anything. Honestly, I'm not a fussy eater. I won't suck on a fisherman's friend, but I'm not a fussy eater. Pop-eyed was that missing small peanut? Well, either small or large. Terry Wookford. Gibson has always sucked her thumb. She used to do it at night on Big Brother. Blimey, Terry, you were paying attention. I can't. How long ago did you win Big Brother? When it was like Big Teenager or something? I mean, 20 years ago that was on the telly. But I just saw her giving it, and I was like, either her partner's very happy or she's missing something. Oh, make your own gags up. And what was the other thing I was going to ask you about? Yeah, Grace Dent. Look, she's dead clever. They're clever because ITV are worrying that. So Grace Dent is very clever, and ITV are worried that the others have cottoned on to what she's done. So they're all going to leg it. So they're having to be really nice to the celebs. Otherwise, they ain't got a TV show. Grace has gone in. She only had to do 72 hours and she would get paid in full. And she's done 9 days. Gets paid in full. Did all the promotion leading up to the series and then legged it for medical reasons. Now, I'd heard she was bulimic. Maybe that has a bearing. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it was the standard of the food that she was getting. Kangaroo rock. Not sure. But either way, she gets paid in full. Yeah, exactly. Terry Wookford. She stayed long enough for her contract. That's sharp, man. That's sharp. And they're saying, oh, well, you know, her dad died and it's coming up to the anniversary. I mean, maybe I'm callous. Maybe I've got no feelings at all. But, you know, the anniversary of my mum's passing, tough. Anniversary of my dad's passing, caring, understanding, 90s type. Couldn't give her two hoots. Brilliant, Junior Stevens. Nella from Nelgem. That's brilliant. Talblock Tracy. Food critic Grace Dent previously detailed her battle with disordered eating in her book Hungry, which was released in 2021. Maybe she should do another one, Hungry in the Jungle. But only had to stay for 72 hours. 125 G's. 125. Knight's getting $1.5 million for staying 3 weeks. $500,000 a week. I mean, he's laughing his cap off. Or he's Bush took a hat. He's laughing his cap off. And he's just being a genuinely nice guy. Nana Rose, oh, bejesus, she's an egocentric sociopath. She's a race baiter. She's odious. In my view, that's my view. I mean, woke ITV, the perfect partner. Oh, blimey, she's ticking a few boxes. And will there be more celebs leaving over the next few days? Because, oh yeah, man, it's they've only got 10 days left. They've only got a week and a half. It's like, I don't know, having a week and a half in Newcastle. Less fights, but the food's about the same. I wanted to talk about King Sausage Fingers because, well, I mean, I've said to you over the last few weeks, I'm looking at life in general, just kind of backing off. And apart from the sucker that, no gags, because I'm mentioning the new Mrs. Allen, the sweetness that she brings to my path, ultimately we're all walking each other home. And I'm not turning into some tree hugging hippie shite, but apart from the new Mrs. Allen, things are very stony. They're very challenging at the minute for everybody, not just me, for everybody. You know, we've got the cost of living crisis, which seemingly won't go away. We've got Tail Block Tracy, thank you. Jamie Lynn Spears has legged it. They're all off. They're all off ski. Once they realise that they can stay in the jungle, and then once they get there and they fulfil the contract, they're off. I mean, Tony Bellew and little Frankie Dettori. I mean, he's the same size as some of the kangaroos in Australia. So I think Jamie Lynn Spears is not going to be the last that's going to walk. There's some very quiet ones in there, and it's the quiet ones you've got to watch. Not the ones, I was having this conversation the other day, when you're in a traumatic situation, it's not the ones that are screaming that you've got to worry about. It's the ones that go quiet, because shock can do terrible things to a human being. So I've been in a few situations where I've had to kind of lead, shall we say, and I've said to them, leave them, they're screaming. There's ones over here that are not. So Tarblock Tracy says that Jamie Lynn, is it Jamie Lee or Jamie Lynn Spears? She did the same thing on American SAS, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And she was there for a couple of days and then was just like, oh, it's not for me, I'm going home, going to see me kids and me family. Now, if you, I'll get on to King Sausage Fingers in a second, but you know that when she did a task, she was really sharp. She was really, this is Jamie Lynn Spears, Britney bitch. She's Britney's sister. And when she did the task, she was absolutely right there, present, and was brilliant at it. That was one of those upper height things where you had to go and get all the stars. And the final star, the 10th star, you had to jump out and grab it, jump out into nothingness, 100 feet up. And she was like, there you go. She was brilliant. And yet, a bit of rain. And she's like, can't stay here, missing me kids. Same excuse for the SES thing in America. Missing me kids. And she'll be getting hundreds of thousands. So they're not daft, these celebs. You don't get to their level of fame without being a sharp cookie and taking opportunities. So they've taken the opportunity and then legged it back to the hotel. Dame Anna, Farage will win. Out of all of them that are there, I think Sam Thompson is playing the game. DJ presenter. He's done some reality, but I'm not sure about him. I think there's a mask there. He knows the game, plays the game. Nigel, for $1.5 million. He could be the king of the jungle, because the queen's going to be Nella. You do know that, don't you? No, sorry, Josie Gibson. Forgive me. I hope Nella's kicked off tomorrow. Foul individual. But if she's being briefed by ITV to do what she's doing, then let her do what she is doing and then disappear back into obscurity, because that's what she's wanted. And there you go. I said, I think there's going to be more leaving. And then Jamie Lynn Spears has legged it. She's had enough. Thank you very much. Let's talk about the Montecito Duo. Not in any depth. I'm not talking about the ginge. I'm talking more about the whinge. And King Sausage Fingers. Adrian, do you know a Tory donor is funding ITV's payment to Farage on the understanding that... Oh, GB Patriot? No, I didn't. Oi, oi, oi. Where'd you get that from? GB Patriot, give me your... if you can, either contact me via the email for the channel, joustingarena@gmail.com, and just give me the source, because that's quite hairy. Pink Rosa says they shouldn't get paid if they walk out. I think that's part of the grift. I think that's part of being a celeb, knowing what you can do, when you can do it, and how you can do it. And if they're getting paid, I don't know, somebody said 125 grand for grace. If Jamie Lynn Spears is getting a little bit more of that, she'll be looking at it going, because she was in the one I saw from last night, she was in the phone box. This is how mad they are. She was in a phone box that is just a prop that doesn't connect to anywhere, and she's looking at the telephone numbers trying to call home. Who does she think she is? E.T. mind you. That's nearly 40 years old. So, oh, Lord Ashcroft. Well, I never. I'm definitely going to look into that when I come off this, because I think that I think ITV have to be very careful, because you know this this inquiry into unwise but not illegal Schofield. Seemingly, he's been to see the barrister, that's the KC, King's Counsel, that's conducting the inquiry, and now they're saying, oh, well, the inquiry results, we're not going to make them public, and, well, they won't be completed for another 7 months. So, all this malarkey at the beginning, where they were saying, we'll get a KC in, and we'll have an inquiry, and we'll look at the details, and, you know, then we'll publish them, and all of a sudden ITV go, no, we're not going to do that. So you know what that is, don't you? That's Schofield coming back to the telly. Oh, come on. Why do you think they would do that? Why do you think they would protect him? Why do you think? Telling you. Won't be long. Sco's back on the telly. And they'll protect him. Because he'd be making millions. He'd be making more than Nigel Farage. So, oh, ITV have confirmed Jamie Lynn Spears will get the full £250,000 a year. Just give me the work. Honestly, I'll eat camel toe all day, every day. Breakfast, lunch and dinner. Just give me it. I'll eat camel toe all day, every day for 250 grand. I mean, I have some integrity. I wouldn't sell me soul, but going into a jungle, it's nice and green with a few critters. I mean, in the Peruvian jungle, I was sitting there on the... Maybe this is too much information, but I was sitting there on the toilet looking at, looking at where the toothbrushes were on the sink, and there's a couple of cockroaches. I'm not quite sure what they were doing, but a couple of cockroaches just ran across the top of the sink, and I was like, holy... I've never seen them before alive. I've seen them on the telly, but holy Jesus, cockroaches. And I thought, oh man, Adrian, Sunderland's got loads of them. This is only the Peruvian jungle. It's the Amazon. It's their domain. They can do whatever they want. So I became one with with nature. It cured me constipation, but I was one with nature. So I saw Tony Bellew in the jungle, and he suddenly had raining cockroaches on him. Oh, that's what I was going to respond to. Somebody asked about Willoughby. So tomorrow, when I get up out of bed, once I've done this and try to deal with the adrenaline, I'll get up and I'll record a couple of videos. One Willoughby and what I know, and one Scove and what I know. Telling you, they're coming back to telly. No question. And I'll tell you why I believe they're going to come back to TV together. There'll be other YouTubers sitting there going, oh, what you got? What you got? Where'd you get that from? Contacts. So let's talk about the king. The king. So, seemingly, this piece of filth, I mean, I wouldn't wipe my backside with it. Endgame. Bell Endgame. And I'll tell you about Windsor's The Endgame. I've told you every time I mention the word Endgame with Harry Enfield. That's where he's nicked the title from. Channel 4 series. He's not the brightest. He's young scrotum. So, seemingly, the book. Now, I keep saying to you that it's all about timing. You can see through everything with timing. So on the day that the book is released, suddenly 2 names have come out that Meghan wrote to the king, who was the Prince of Wales at the time, but, you know, the Ginger's dad, supposedly. That's why he calls him dear boy and doesn't call him his son. So, in the English version, seemingly Dimo Scr, the author of Endgame, Dimo, it's omid, backwards. Backwards omid. And scrotum, well, we know what one of those is. And in the Dutch version, on the day of release, the Dutch version has a slightly different translation to the English version. And the Dutch version has got Charles named as the person that asked about Archibald's skin tone. It's not the English version. Oh, no. According to Dimo Scr, he left the name out, but there's been some translation errors. How do you translate Charles wrongly? Now, Charles and Catherine have been named in the Dutch version as the racist royals. Now, if the Montecito Duo are 28 million in debt, according to a recent Yahoo News report, they need to make some kind of money quick. We want to know what kind of deal they've got with the scrotum. Because, let me tell you, the team, part of the team who shall remain nameless, went and tried to buy Endgame, the Dutch version, in Germany. You can still buy it. So you know when the mainstream press starts saying to you, oh, no, it's been pulled from the shelves. Has it rollocks? It ain't. It hasn't. Because they're all crapping it now because somehow, some way, somebody thought it would be really clever, unless Scrotum hasn't written that book at all. Hands up how many people think Meghan's written that book. We have previous for young Meghan because she said she wrote a letter to her father that wasn't for public consumption. And oh, fan my brow, when she gets caught up in the English legal system, she goes, well, yeah, I forgot. Oh, Mad Matt UK, what have you just done, you utter wrong'un? Adrian, did you manage to find the article regarding the late Princess Diana and the Echo Charlie security guy? Oh, yes, on his deathbed in your archive. Might be somewhere. Oh, I know exactly where, the close protection officer. Oh, we'll get to that. I want to mention this first because I think there's kind of this furore build-up. Now, can you remember the Oprah Winfrey interview? And the Ginge said, we've never named anybody. It's the mainstream media that's named them. And everybody looked at that going, how we're, man, Harold? You said who it was. But young Meghan was in a court of law. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And then, oh, I'm sorry, I misled the court. Didn't mean to. Honest, no. I must have forgotten. I must, So here we go again. There's a letter being sent to the then Prince of Wales, Charles, and Charlie's not going to release it because it's gone to Omid Scrotum. Well, so who's given the letter to the author of Endgame? Because it's not going to be the king. So there's only one other person, and she's got form for releasing stuff to the press that, according to the emails that she sent to one of Prince William's PAs or communications officers, yeah, just in case it gets out into the press. It's absolutely disgusting. I mean, Dimo Scrotum's made a mistake of epic proportions. I don't know whether he's been set up, but honestly, his derriere is putting like a rabbit's nose at the minute because he's that scared. Because, look, that's treason. He's the king. He can do anything he wants. If this had been like a couple 100 years ago, can you imagine what Henry VIII would have done? Whoa, bring him down here and chop his head off. Don't care. And if they burned you at the stake, if they were kind, they would put some gunpowder around your neck so that when the flames licked off, boom, it would blow your head off. That's if they were being nice to you. It's treason. It's treasonous. He's never going to be able to come back into this country. Arrest him and take him to the Tower. He can live there with the ravens. Gas 987. That's funny. Wonder if she used a first or second class stamp on the letter. Well, she's going to court with her sister. The sister is going to trial November 2024. So Meghan's going to be in court. She's going to have to be. She can't go, oh no, I'm a duchess. No. She can't leg it over to England. We don't want her. Neither does America, from what I read in the press. GB Patriot, Adrian, did you watch the Diana death movie with Keith Allen narrating? I saw a clip of it today, and I don't know where I can find it. If you can give me a steer, is it Netflix, is it Prime, is it wherever I can find it, then I'll definitely watch it. And I did think of you, GB Patriot, today. I thought, well, I need to watch that. So, yet again, private letters written by Meghan Sachs-Coburg have been leaked. And the author says, laws in the UK prevent me from reporting who they are. How can you translate two names wrongly? I think the boy's been set up. Because let me tell you, wasn't it Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, who said in The Crown, the monarchy must be protected at all costs? So, although Charlie's got his problems, including his fingers, the monarchy, a bloodline that goes back over 1,000 years, if it goes to Athelstan, 900 and odd, or Alfred the Great, then Athelstan, over 1,000 years, a bloodline over 1,000 years. All right, there's a bit of German chucked in there. The Saxe-Coburgs changed it to Windsor so that the peasants wouldn't have revolted at the First World War. But the monarchy will be protected at all costs. Now, these two idiots sitting in California, if they are actually in California, with the make-believe kids, they're not hers, they're his, but they're not hers. Because I'm waiting for the proof that they are her children. That moon bump thing, I've seen her do stuff that you just know a pregnant woman won't and can't do because of the condition called pregnancy. Now, I'm not into some conspiracy theorists, but I just know that he's fathered the children, possibly by a surrogate. She's not had them. She's too posh to push. But Prince Charles is sitting there. He must be banging his head off a brick wall, saying to Camilla, oh, darling, what are they doing? Off with their heads. Now, the intelligence services, who are not stupid by any stretch of the imagination, we have MI 5 or 6, which one of them deals with internal, one of them deals with worldwide external. Now, our security services are the best in the world. I mean, I know that the CIA and the FBI and they do whatever and Mossad, but our intelligence services do not muck around. And they're trying to bring the monarchy down. I do hope she's not driving a car in Paris anytime soon. Boston Brakes, anyone? GB Patriot. Adrian, Google unlawful killing. Keith Allen. It's on YouTube, but you have to Google it first as it doesn't normally come up if you search direct on YouTube. Thank you. Brilliant, Terry. Thank you. MI5 is internal. MI6 is international. And as a little aside, I'm going to go for about 70, 75 minutes with this live tonight because there's still loads to talk about. Some important stuff. What was I going to say? So, MI5, MI6, that was it. There's an absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful TV series on Apple if you can get it. Apple TV, it's called Slow Horses. Just brilliant. I mean, it's now up to series 3 and it's just your typical English intelligence system. I mean, it's just Gary Oldman plays the lead in it. It's just one of the best bits of telly in years and years and years. I promise you. If you do manage to see it, or anybody you know has like an Apple TV subscription, get to watch it. First 2 episodes dropped yesterday on Apple TV. Slow Horses, the best TV in a long time. So let's get back to MI5 and MI6. Hayden says, I have the books, Alan. Which books, Hayden? No, I haven't bought Endgame, but I've got literally virtually everything else to do with the royal family. What's, hang on a second. Yeah, I've got Traitor King, which I'm going to read soon. I've got The King and Die, which has some insane revelations in it. And even the publishing house, you can't get it for love nor money. If you want to buy The King and Die, you can spend 100 quid on the book because it's not available anywhere. But these Montecito, the duo, that, look, I'll give it to them. Horses, slow. Oh, it's not Slow Horses. It's Slow Horses is a different book. It's under a different name, but it's the TV series that's Slow Horses. Look, they're playing a great game. If this was a poker game, I would say that they're holding a strong hand, but the monarchy hold all the aces. And the publicity that this book has got on the day of release, it's insane. So, Charles and Catherine have been named in the Dutch version. Why in the Dutch version and not the English version? They're saying, oh, it's rewritten for the Dutch version. Well, it's available in Germany. So is it available only in Dutch? Or is the translation across whole of Europe? And he said, down to translation errors. So, some questions for you that I'm sure you're ahead of me in asking. So, the Ginge and the Winge haven't denounced this poison. They're awake in Montecito in California. They're only 8 hours behind, so it'll be about lunchtime. Have they denounced this poison? And I think we can confidently assume if they don't, they endorse what's in that book. And Harry knows that the intelligence services, all men in black and wearing sunglasses when it's dark outside, will be, hello, sir. Just thought we'd come and say hello. It's like Diana. No, I'm not going to tell that one. I'll get shot for that. They will cut me brake pipes. It's on page 128. Page 128 of the Dutch version, in Dutch, so it's not in English. And it names Charles as the racist. Now, I don't understand this, because if it does, why would she write to Charles? Now, I don't think the monarch is going to come out and do anything. He's not going to confirm or deny, and never explain, never complain. And can you imagine one of the oldest bloodlines on planet Earth as being named as a racist when Harry said that he knew who the racist was, but was never going to say the name? So it was Harry that had the private conversations with whomever and then went back and told his missus. And the missus is the one that sent the poison pen letter. So from where I'm sitting, I don't think we have to go to many places to find out who the leak is. Now, since Meghan wants to bring up Artificial again, I'm sure, because there's, is it Town and Country? There's like 25 or 45 new pictures of the kids in Town and Country. And I've seen some of them and I'm like, yeah, okay, we've seen those in Netflix and yeah, we've seen those elsewhere. But there are others where you think, hang on, they're not the same kids. They don't look anything like Artificial. So people are asking the question, how can two children make it into the line of succession? They can make it into the line of succession if they are Ginger's kids. If they're hers and not his, of course they're never going to make it into the line of succession. But if they're his, they can. Now, the other thing is that if they ever divorce, the kids become ward of the monarch because they're in the line of succession. And they will only not be in the line of succession once Prince George becomes 18, because then it deviates like a river. Off it goes, takes another path. Tributary, if you wish. Because it'll go Charles, William, but some people say, is William really Charles's? I mean, Diana was a bit of a girl. Like a barn door in a storm, seemingly. And George is William's. So you've got William's 3 kids, and then George gets to 18. I mean, imagine the pressure on Prince George. Right, you're on. You've got to start knocking kids out. You've got loads of money. Don't care about that. Yeah, go and do your schooling. Go to university. Then once you're out of university, find some young filly that wears next to nothing for a fashion show at your university. Then marry her and knock the next 3 generations out. Because as I've said repeatedly, the powerful plan for 3 generations. Everybody else plans for Saturday night. So maybe Prince Philip was right. There's a big piece in the Daily Mail today asking the question, do we want the royal family that's more relevant? No, we don't want a royal family that's relevant. We want a monarchy. We have had a monarchy since Athelstan made this a collective country, the King of all England. We don't want somebody who's like he's down with the kids and he's one of the boys and likes a lager. No, we don't want that. We want a monarchy for pomp and circumstance. Well, you tell me in the comments. I want a monarchy that's not relevant. I want a monarchy that has a king or a queen sitting and leads. That Charles is now, if I may be so bold, Charles is the father of the nation. Which is different from the mother of the nation, because that was his mum, Queen Elizabeth II. Can Queen Elizabeth II also be Queen Elizabeth II the Great? Because Queen Elizabeth I was Elizabeth the Great. But I want the father of the nation. And a father is different from a mother. Now, I'm sure you're going to go, no shit, Sherlock, Adrian. But a mother of the nation has to be different from a father. The mother of the nation is the supplicator. The father of the nation is the leader of the nation. And he must give strong boundaries, like in any family, those that have got, a mum and a dad, because sadly that's not the case in many, many families nowadays. But the father must give very strong boundaries. He must lead with courage. Athelstan, Alfred the Great. Is he going to be Charlie the Great? I talk to me plants. And Charles should not back away from the difficult decisions for the greater good. Now, from the people that I've spoken to, and I don't exist in an echo chamber, but the people that I speak to are all very well aware that Charles appears to be a weak king. Bless him, he's only been in the job a couple of months-ish. Yeah, Terry Woodford makes a great point. I would like to know how Harry the hostage got PTSD, sat in a bunker, playing Tour of Duty on his Xbox. I agree completely. But I think, look, the crown weighs heavy on the monarch's head always. And Elizabeth just had, she just had a rod of steel. I mean, she was just an amazing monarch. But she was young. Charles keeps mentioning his mother, like, I miss my mum. Oh, Charlie, man, grow a pair. You're leading. You're the king. You're our leader. You're the one that sets the strong boundaries. You're the one that tells your government what they're supposed to be doing. Do they do it? Lead with courage. Do not back away from difficult decisions. The first one is deal with these 2 in California, because the whole nation's sick of them. Sick and tired of them. Have we got enough time? I just want to make a couple of points. And thank you to everyone that's been commenting. We're a bit light on the likes tonight. Yeah, utter wrong'uns. We've got 158 people. Go on, smash the like, please. I do this for now. So the likes mean everything, so we can get the algorithm going. Oh, I say. Theatre of the Mind. Looks quite good. Let's get stuck into the BBC, shall we? I mean, so on the one hand, you've got this comedian, Guz Khan. Not my kind of comedian. But BBC wokery allowing him to present Have I Got News for You? Now, can we just have a little common sense here, please? Because he's pro-Hamas. And it's interesting when the English rise up and they go, oh, no, you can't do that. What do you mean? And then people that are supporting a different country for whatever reason are being promoted by the BBC to be the main anchor on Have I Got News for You? Where's the integrity? Where's the honesty? You see, I don't think it's about BBC balance, although they keep chuntering on about, well, we're balanced. It's about society and the community telling those tastemakers, i.e. the BBC, that there is something offensive and unacceptable about making jokes about either side in the Middle East conflict. It's offensive. Look, you and I can only vote with our feet. I would suggest that we look at the funding model of the BBC, because I think it's coming to that. 2023, we've got modern technology. I've got a DJ on Spotify. The DJ on Spotify, AI, obviously, says to me, Oi, Rogan, I've found these tunes for you. Do you want me to play them while you're doing whatever you're doing in your office? And I just go, yeah. And that bit of AI has worked out what I like, when I like it, and plays me some songs. And I think, oh, blimey, I haven't heard that in a while. So I don't go to radio anymore. The presenters are shite. I've sacked some of them in my previous jobs for being shite. But you and I can only do one thing, and that is vote with our feet. I think they should give it another a completely different funding model, and I think people should have the choice whether they buy into it or not. That'll be an interesting take. And look at what happened to Wix, Bud Light, go woke, go broke. And there's the BBC cutting jobs in their news department. Seemingly, there's like 60 journos or 60 members of staff. They've cut Newsnight, or are going to cut Newsnight down to 30 minutes. 30 news jobs to be cut. That's half of the 60 that they've got working on in the news department and or Newsnight. So they are proposing that they're going to save £500 million. Job cuts and whatever. £500 million. Who in the right mind was allowing them 500 million over a suggested budget? They've saved 7.5 million on these 30 jobs on Newsnight. 7.5 million. How much are these people being paid? Now, I will tell you, the radio station will remain nameless, but I am very well aware that there was, I've told you this before, that there was what they call a producer, reporter. It's called, they only had to do a package, and a package was like a 5-minute piece into the breakfast show. And they were paid 50 grand a year for putting one package on the breakfast show once a week. 50 G's a year, that's £1,000 per package, almost. And I just used to shake my head going, this is all coming from the taxpayer. Oh, yeah, yeah. Andy Turner, radio's knackered. Singers now presenting shows. Ugh, Pink Roses. Reply and apologise, and I might give you a like. Pink Rose, I am going to reply. Just bear with me. I am going to reply. Because we've done some tracking for your IP. And I'll tell you this. It appears that you're using a VPN. And for a woman your age, using a VPN, that's a bit sharp, don't you think? So I've got questions for you. You obviously think I'm stupid all day. I just want to pass comment about B. Liar. Do you know that that man in the last year has made an extraordinary amount of money? He was worth about 40 odd million. Now it's over 100 million. Where's this money coming from? Now, I've seen videos where his lips are moving, he's definitely there, and he's at WEF, and he's saying, well, you know, we need the data. We need the data. Hang on, Tony, what do you need? We need the data. We need to know who's had the jibber jabber and who hasn't. So why would you need to know that, Tony? This is at WEF. And they're saying that he could be the next leader of WEF after Klaus Schwab. Klaus Schwab is not the leader of WEF. He just came up with the idea. The puppet masters never let themselves be known. But how can B. Liar he takes money from Bill Gates. Do you need to know any more? The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation? I'm telling you. Now, here's a question for you. Now, this question was going around at the time. Remember when the MMR jibber jabber? Every kid had to have the MMR. And it was 3 in 1. And you were told by your government, it's all right, go back to sleep, your government loves you. Adam Curtis. Find Adam Curtis on the BBC and start watching his stuff. It'll blow your mind. So B. Liar said, oh, yeah, my son Leo. Yeah, he's had MMR. Yeah, that was factually correct, wasn't it, Tone, mate? Except your son went to France and took the jibber jabber separately. It wasn't 3 in 1. It was 1 or 2 or 1. How Tony, mate? Tories had you right. Everybody else had to have 3 in 1 MMR. Not Tony Blair's boy Leo. Went to France. Dame Ali, you've just made me laugh, you utter wrong 'un. I just want to round off with something about Banged Up, because initially I was sceptical of sticking some celebs in HMP Shrewsbury. And I thought, oh, it's just going to be a setup. It's going to be... it was 4 episodes on Channel 4. And it was really... The last one went out last week and I haven't had a chance to watch it. But watched it earlier, and I didn't realise that 50% of all inmates in the jails in this country are illiterate. Wow. That's statistic in itself blew me away. 50% of all inmates illiterate. And one of the prisoners said, prison is a punishment of the mind. So we're really getting to the heart of everything. And it provided some pathos to life. And Peter Hitchen, now I'm not a fan of his writing. Some of it's very clever, but not all of it. And Peter Hitchen just had an epiphany in the jail. And because it was, I think, only 4 episodes, Peter Hitchen didn't really get enough time to explain this epiphany. He offered some of the guys that had been in jail for varying criminal activities, but he was offering to teach them to read. He was offering to teach them to write. And Will says, how do you define illiterate? Well, that's the statistic that the program gave. 50% of all inmates in English prisons are illiterate, not read or write. But I thought it was extraordinary that this epiphany from a man that was very posh, read alive. So Peter Hitchen has been, he says, I've been through something extraordinary. He's had an epiphany. It'll be interesting. I saw an article about a month or so ago that he wrote about being inside the prison. And it hasn't been aired. You see, I've just had a phone call from somebody who should know better, who knows when I do the live, and why they would call me, I've no idea. But I will deal with them when I finish this. That's why the sound goes. Thank you, Andy. I think we'll leave it there. We're at that usual place near the end of the live, and if we can just nudge it over 100, that would be fabulous. We have another live this coming Sunday, 8 o'clock as always. I'm going to look at doing a couple of videos tomorrow around some of the entertainment stuff, some of the darker stuff. I will give you a video about Tony Blair, who I just don't know how he's making his money, because he was a politician. The most he'll get as a pension is 150 odd grand, 160 odd grand. As a former prime minister, he will get security. Thank you, Lauren. I don't know why it disappeared for 30 seconds, but that's why I'm taking my time to say thank you to everyone. So I want to get these facts and figures out. I also wanted to do a bit about the 60th anniversary of the assassination of J.F.K. Someone who's making a film about that has come out and said, yeah, there were 4 paid assassins in Dallas that day. Yeah, there were. And I believe the one that I believe that the assassin that did for J.F.K. was Woody Harrelson's dad, and he was in the sewerage under the road, and there was a kind of a grill that obviously let the rainwater go into the sewage, and they were in the sewage pipes, and that's why they could aim up and blow the front off JFK's head. So I'm going to do a little video about that. 60th anniversary, and still the American people are none the wiser. Popeye Wazza, thank you again, Adrian. Yeah, wrongin'. Nikki, great live tonight. Keep smiling. Oh, you're too kind. Right, you wrongins, get me over 100. I'll leave this open for a couple of minutes, because I'm going to go and have to chill out and deal with the adrenaline. But it's been lovely, and I hope you've enjoyed some of the stuff we've talked about. There is definitely stuff in there that you don't know about, but I was going to talk about the Kung Flu. You know, there's something going on in China around kids and a new respiratory something that's the kids are not able to deal with. I'm going to do some more digging tomorrow, and when I can find some more information about it, I'll bring it to you. But just stay alert, stay awake. This game's afoot. It's just for us to work them out early doors. So thank you for being here this evening. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but most of all, your indulgence. The last time I looked, my name's Adrian Allen. Keep taking the Battenberg. I'll see you for a live on Sunday, 8 o'clock.